There you guys are. Hey, yo, what's up? It's me, Dan Tom. This is the Protect Your Neck Podcast, Afterparty Edition. We're going to be recapping UFC 278 as everybody piles in here. Save the formalities. You know where you guys usually find me at MMA Junkie. Action Network, do a bit there with the Prop Squad. And here on this channel, thank you for liking and subscribing if you haven't already. And yeah, we're going to go through top to bottom. Couple notes, couple shouts that I missed on my last episode. We'll do the formalities of that sort, I guess, and then we'll get to the recap. So feel free to hit me with any questions or any of the fun stuff you like there. Keep it clean, no fence grabs. We will penalize you for those, because there wasn't too much of that, not till the very end. All right. Just want to check this link here. I'm going to share. Thank you guys for liking the video. Appreciate that. Of course, this is going down on my YouTube channel here, Daniel Tom MMA, for those of you listening audio, Apple Podcasts. Apologies. Been a long day, folks. Long workout here. And I am less functional than I would be if I was, drinking and having fun, which not really doing the old training camp spiel back into those days. I thought I was out, and they pulled me back in. So yeah, I'm tweeting out here, and then we'll get this party started. Thank you guys for your patience, as per usual, as I stumble all over myself, as I usually do on these live shows. But I owed you guys a live show. I did give you guys an awesome guest. Couldn't do video because I'm just not equipped, and I almost fumbled the ball doing audio. So we'll get you guys here. All right, that's tweeted out, and we'll get this going. All right, UFC 278 went down. Kamaru Usman defending his title, though he did not, to Leon Edwards, of course. It was a rematch, the year of rematches, not just 2022, but even going back into 2021. I feel like we just had a ridiculous amount of rematches. Nice comments there. Stellar 703. Well, that was something to say the least. Yeah, I feel like maybe that's part of it too. I'm exhausted from training, but also dude, I don't even smoke cigarettes. Y'all need a cigarette too, because I feel like I do. It's that was just an intense night, and yeah, I can't help but feel great for Leon, man. I mean, just Anik said it best. Really easy guy to root for. Me, I'm a fan of anybody that can really just show that vulnerability, and dude's been through a lot, and to be able to get there. First Jamaican-born champ. How about that? Jamaica, stand up. Jamaica, stand up. I mean, that's pretty freaking cool. So, yeah, it's we're gonna get to that. I do want to shout out, but yeah, I just want to do a little bit of cleanup from last podcast, because there was a bunch I didn't get to. It sounded like I was on like cocaine or something. I was speaking so fast, but I was just kind of against the clock, and we got a bit of a late start because, again, I fumbled the bag with missing audio equipment. I was like, oh yeah, I need a USB-C transfer cord, because it's been so long since I've gotten mobile with the podcast that it was like my old MacBook, and this is, my new MacBook's not even that new, so I got it before the pandemic. So it's been a minute since I've been traveling with audio stuff. So there's a little bit of a bane there. Speaking of which, that was I think I gave my guy Tony Satori a shout out. He posted a Fire Rises thing last week. Fire Rises, Mr. Wayne. Always, for whatever reason, quote that. Mark F, who I caught up with, he's doing well. He's in the chat. He's doing so well. Holy shit, that's all I got, Mark Fellows has to say. Mark, I know you're doing well, but we're glad you're doing well, brother, and kicking ass. I love your man cave, by the way, you shared with me. I won't blow up your spot there, but props to y'all who have your own little like cave dwellings and that is definitely the spot. I'm working on my garage, but it's not like for relaxation. It's for pain, as Clubber Lang would say. Um, we were supposed to be fighting like October 8th, but now it looks like it's going to be fighting in November. So like I'm like, well, silver lining is maybe I can squeeze in this. We'll see, how it goes with the knock on wood. Those UFC off weeks, they're very rare, but I'm going to try to get some work done in my garage. My garage here. Toss and Pedro. Oh, I forgot to say it like that. Speaking of Mark Fellows, Australian. I'm shook, Daniel May says. Yeah, man, I'm pretty... It's pretty, it is pretty shaking. I had my Fight Site shirt on earlier. I think I had it on for my guy Aaron B's pre-show I do with him. Shout out to Aaron Bronstead of the TSN MMA show. And I know I gave my guy Ed Gallo a shout, but I forgot to give the other Fight Site folks a shout. My guy Tuman over there, who is going through a lot of stuff to relocate from Russia or his homies. It's complicated, but obviously the war between Russia and Ukraine complicated a lot of things for a lot of people, and there's all these causes and this and that, but like it's always nice if like you can help out an individual. And Fight Site posted a link on how you could help Tuman out directly, but also a lion's share of their Patreon stuff does not just go to their workers, which is great. And not always the case out there, folks, right? Workers getting their fair shares, but it does, and it helps on my guy Tuman. So to just shout out a fellow friend site full of friends, however you want to cut it. I just wanted to give them a shout out, as well as one of the many podcasts that they produce there, the Seos podcast. Grappling podcast, my guy Tommy Elliott, Ben Cohn, who's been both those guys been on this show. Matt Joya as well. We got to get Joya on the show. I want to grapple with Joya and eat halal with Joya as well. But they I was listening to their episode and they're talking about Leandro Lo's like De La Riva guard passing, and like I tabbed it out. I'm like, okay, I want to check that out, because even though I'm staying out of the gi until this fight happens and competition's over, I love me some passing, some really good passing technique and whatnot. And I'm a big fan of the home base position from Lovato Jr. But yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I've always known Leandro Lo. I've been meaning to catch up with the stuff. Like, let's get off your ass. And I finally like tabbed out a bunch of stuff to go study. And like literally like that night or whatever, this was like a week or two ago at this point, right? Leandro Lo was murdered by the off-duty police officer. It's really crappy, really big for jiu-jitsu. I'm not personally affected, nor am I going to pretend, but I do know people that were affected in some form, were lucky enough to train with Lo, and I would be remiss if I did not mention that. And also want to shout, I was really proud to see my outlet when they reported it, because not everybody did, that it was a cop that murdered Lo, which, is really complicated considering the relationships and stuff with the BJJ community and cops. So that part wasn't necessarily getting reported or highlighted in a lot of sources. So was proud to see my outlet providing correct information, and I just want to send my condolences, because that's really just heartbreaking. Ultimately, doesn't matter how you cut it, right? That's really heartbreaking stuff. Young guy, younger than me. Not that I'm young, but you know what I mean. Young to be fucking dying senselessly. So wanted to give my condolences there, and shouts to my friends who in the jiu-jitsu community who were affected in any way by that. So I felt really bad for forgetting that one. Really random note, don't worry, we're going to pass on to this crazy card. My guy Rob G, I want to shout again, really kind enough to too much. I got to ban Rob G from, and some of you guys are just too kind. You keep hitting that PayPal link if you want to support the show. I know I don't have Patreon yet, and if I do, it's probably just going to be set up for a way to you guys to more regularly support than having to go and hit the PayPal. I'm not comfortable, nor do I think I'm big enough or successful enough to be putting anything behind any sorts of paywalls. This podcast's been free for over half a decade. And, hopefully we can make our ducats, we can all make some money together here. But if you do feel so inclined to throw some extra support to the free show, mixedmartialanalyst.com supports this program. That's my website. Just toggle to the right if you don't see it. PayPal, on Amazon click-throughs if you shop at those websites. And, at Dan Tom MMA, the only, social media that I'm really active. I'm getting a little more active on Instagram, with the fight coming up. It's not like I'm going to strategically hide anything that I'm doing anyways. I'm so fucking blabbermouth. There's so much information out there on me, and it's weird. It's like the Tough House. We're training with the people we compete with, and we all follow each other on Instagram, so it's whatever. But you can follow me there too at Dan Tom MMA. But yeah, at Dan Tom MMA on Twitter. That's where the links are for everything, including the PayPal link. But thank you, Rob G. And I also want to shout out my guy Chillum Defoe. I didn't shout Chillum, man. Will at Chillum Defoe on Instagram, on Twitter. He's the guy that provided the David Clark clip that I was playing. And I'm going to go to that, actually, while we're talking. Because there was one thing I biffed on the last podcast, of course. The last shout, I promise we'll go to UFC 278, clean up the chat. Oh, my God, TSOV's in the pot, in the chat. I love it. That's my guy, Pulver. Regardless, shouts to Chris, too. Love and miss you guys dearly. The sound of violence. We only need the sound of violence in our lives. I mean, speaking of good sources that get things right and aren't afraid to call the spades a spade. Sound of violence, baby. Love those guys. The real ones know. But yeah, I wanted to shout out my guy, Chillum Defoe, and I'm pretty sure that's his Twitter handle, but let me just make sure it is. Yep, at Chillum Defoe. Fuck that shit! Shouts to my guy Bradchick too, who said it sounded like David Clark. It sounded like Dan Tom was playing David Clark, but it was David Clark. But you know how I say guys like David Clark gets so inaudible that he just goes there's this you just gotta hear it, and then I'll put you down. Hey, listen. You gotta fucking fight. Fuck that shit. I got it. Hey, you gotta turn it up. Fuck that shit. I want you to look over. He's gassed. You have to finish him though. And you gotta make a choice right now. You gotta go. Right? We came here to die tonight. Put his ass on the floor and let's finish him. Okay. He just went inaudible. I think he's. If you hurt him, man. And he even does this thing with his hand. He steps into it and he's just like, if you hurt him, man. David, did you forget your words? I think it's I think he was so excited. He just went with it, but his word, he left the words back in the porch. He left it at home. The bags were packed, they just never left. And I think what he says, he tries to enunciate a little further in the next one. I think he tries to say if you hurt him, you gotta keep him hurt, or you gotta stay on him, or if you hurt him, you gotta fuck him up. It was something along those lines, but it just came out. If you hurt him, man. I love it. Oh, I love it. Sorry. My dude went full Lil Durk, LMO. I don't know if that was a response to what I just said, but the chat is popping. So I just wanted to give Chillum Defoe a shout there. I'm going to clean up the chat, and then we'll go on to the breakdown. There we go. Yeah, Mark Fellows, Amazing, I'm shook. Oh, my guy, Aaron Menard, MMA Junkie Radio Days, baby. We all the old school G's, Speaking of, just dudes that are good dudes that I've known for a minute, man. Aaron, I love watching that guy and his journey as well. What's up, Aaron? Dan Tom, please share this story if possible. What story is that? Cheers, my dude. This is from Sound of Violence. Cheers, my dude. Taking a much-needed shot in your honor. Thank you. Drink for me, please. I cannot drink, Pulver. Drink all for me. Oh, my goodness. maybe it's good I didn't make it to San Diego while I'm in camp. I couldn't have fun and stuff. So maybe I'll have to like go to San Diego after camp. And time's going by fast, so hopefully that'll go by fast. I'll definitely hit you up if I get there. Everybody go support Dan's Patreon. I don't have Patreon, but you can just do the PayPal. And shouts to the Fight Site Patreon and my guy Tuman there. Rogue Pierogi. Death taxes, wrestlers ducking into head kicks, question mark? Yeah, I retweeted that. Slip, duck, dip. Different classifications when we split the hairs, of course. To each their own, but just that general direction. Talked about with Kaikar France. We talked about directionality in the last with those kicks as well with Vera and Cruz in the last podcast with Eric, and this kind of among the same beat, but just wrestlers. Most of the time they're orthodox. Most wrestle boxers are orthodox, despite shooting. A lot of wrestlers shooting from southpaw. Most wrestle boxers in MMA are orthodox. Most wrestlers like to box. Most wrestlers like to fight orthodox. So there's a lot of crossover here. And if you're orthodox, your power side's your left side. So you often will dip to that side because it's the slip to the jab. There is an inside slip, of course, but with MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, you have head kicks you could slip into a kick off the punch, as seen in the main event we just saw, right? So whether you're orthodox or even as a southpaw, right? You're mainly facing orthodox opposition, and whether you slip or dip to set up a shot, a body shot, or just a defensive maneuver, right? Any of those three realms, they're based off of the same body movement, and it's more natural to dip to your power side as far as your standard staggered stance gives way to. It's easier to. And if you're playing the mathematical percentages, it's safer to, because you're dipping away from the power side. And although there are lead side weapons like lead uppercuts that don't take a lot, and maybe switch kicks that are maybe a little more low percentage and take a little more, they still don't stack up if we have to do the run the numbers on your mathematical percentages. So if you're going to pick a route to choose, I don't blame the Cruzes of the world or the Usmans of the world, right? Whether they're hard darting like Cruz or whether they're just slipping like Usman to go to that side, which is why the left switch kick can be so deceptive, especially you're looking for right power from orthodox and they switch it up for you. Or even not a switch, if you're just a southpaw, it's a little more obvious, so you gotta disguise it kind of, hence the southpaw double attack, which is something I reference also in a tweet. If we're talking about tweets I reference, of course, southpaw double attack. It is working your kick in conjunction with your cross off the same side. One thing, I wanted to empty my cup coming from Taekwondo and Kempo Karate. I want to learn Muay Thai and boxing, right? But the one thing I just, especially when it came to like, I don't want to say Muay Thai, or kickboxing, either or. Let's just say MMA kickboxing and the meld between the two, right? One thing I noticed in a lot of gyms, a lot of teachers is just it almost gets robotic. It's left, right, left, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's not enough same side. And I know there's a lot of it's not as practical, it's not as powerful traditional stuff, but there's actually some practical stuff where you can draw power. Counterbalancing off of shots, right, where you kick off the same side and then you counterbalance yourself, so you can kind of use it as a counter and a checking tool, or as a mean setup that Crow Cop's been doing and a bunch of fighters have kind of mimicked since from the southpaw stance, where you're throwing that left hand, getting that respect, getting the guard, getting their eye line, and you're coming up or to the liver low of the guard with all power, hoping they dip into it, obviously, if you're going to the head, whereas the body, a little more unprotected, you can be a little more direct with it. It's great. It's a great attack, southpaw double attack. Sorry, tangent there, but yeah, there's that's the connectivity there. So I don't blame these guys for slipping in that direction. It's just one of the dangerous things about doing that. You're not safe. Hello, Pulva. Yeah, everybody's getting friendly in the chat. Stellar 703. I never thought I'd feel bad for Usman, but after that one, I do. I feel bad for Usman too, and I feel bad because I'm happy for Leon, and I feel like I'm already comes off as a Usman hater because claim that, in the stupid conversation, which it is stupid, by the way. Props to Leonardo. These belts belong to no, and he should enjoy that belt, by the way, and so should everybody. I'm not saying that just because promotions may diminish it with saturation and interims and all the like, and unfair dealings with the fighters, whatever you want to put on it. Be proud of it, but at the same time, I do appreciate what Leon said. Pound for pound is what did he say? What did he say? Nothing or whatever, and no one owns the belt. Like, just fuck all that conversation. Like, pretty much. But yeah, I always feel like I do come off like a Usman hater because I'd say Volkanovski's my pound for pound, and I have to like remind people. And it sucks because Usman seems like a great guy. I know everyone makes fun of him because he sounds like he's always telling ghost stories in a campfire. But like he shouts to those tweets. There's multiple tweets saying that, so I don't even know who to credit. But shouts to whoever you are. But yeah, I think a lot of it was his management too, and maybe just that, maybe his management's encouragement. When he's injured, it's like get your name out there more, and then it just was just like, oh, geez, I felt like I heard more about Usman and more hype when he wasn't fighting than when he was, even like the right after, and I don't know if that's what, I don't know. I don't want to say turn because I don't know. I don't think I ever hated on Usman, and I don't see really any hate on the guy. You'll see those stupid like pound for pound arguments, but yeah, man. I just hope he's okay, because those head kicks are very life changing. That's the most scariest thing. The shin to the dome is the last thing you want. Work your head kick defense. It's such a fear of mine that like I actually have good kick defense, which would make sense. I mean, I've had kicks thrown at me since fucking '92. But I mean, it's like in some form. Obviously, there's been breaks, but it's like it doesn't matter. You can't. The moment you disrespect, it's like the thing. The moment you disrespect, it's the moment it hurts you. And that is just, again, the one thing you don't want hurting you. Usman just did not look right even leaving the octagon. You heard the broadcast say that. So, honestly, I just hope the dude's okay because he's made a lot of money. I don't know the condition of his knees, but he still looks like he obviously can be competitive. Was just the champion of the world not a couple hours ago, folks. He's got an awesome Marvel deal, which, like, that's... I mean... I hope we see more of a trend of what that, as far as Usman getting the Black Panther thing deal. And, I know, eye rolls. I'm a hipster. A lot of hipsters out there. It's not cool to like the Marvel or the MCU, and I get that. I get it. I'm just saying, like, that's cool for Usman, though. That's fucking cool as shit, right? So I just hope, he can go enjoy all that stuff, and because he deserves it, man. The dude's busted his ass, man. We can have these dumb arguments about pound for pound and all rematches, and this guy really deserved a shot, and how convincing did he beat him? And we can pull at hairs, but the guy is good, man. It was a wrestler who learned to strike. We've seen that at welterweight before. It's wrestleweight, but amongst those guys, man, he should be very proud of his place amongst that line. We'll see what he does next. And yeah, as far as leading up to that, we just did a breakdown of that fight. But just leading up to it, boyo. We had the mount from Edwards takes round one. But aside from that, it looks like he was on his way out. How much was commentary playing to that? I'm the first to be like, commentary had you fooled. But, like, no, I thought the same thing as the commentary, It was like, I was just watching how, and a lot of other smart people on my timeline picked this up too, just how Edwards was conceding space. So it was like, part of me was, like, really happy, and I wanted to be like, oh, nice, Usman's pressuring. Nice, we get to see this Usman again. Usman's grappling. Good. I like seeing this again. But a lot of it, too, is Edwards kind of just allowing him up against the fence, which was odd because from the grappling early to the striking early in round two, I felt like he had so much varied success all across the board that I was just like, is it a confidence thing? 'Cause I feel like he should have confidence because he's grappled him, he's wrestled him, he's punched him, he's kicked him, he's countered him. You should be more confident here. Easier said than done, obviously. We're not in there. But, yeah, he was just really conceding space. And I was like, it's a foregone conclusion. Usman by decision. Man, those Usman by decision people were spot on, And then I actually looked down. I wasn't even looking when the knockout happened. And the fact that Joe called it like he did, where he didn't even believe what he just saw, made me extra fucked up because I looked up and I just saw Usman and I was like, yeah, it was confusing for a second. I'm like, that guy's on the ground. Holy shit, what did he hit him with? And yeah, it was good stuff. By the way, we went 8-3-1 overall. We went 2-1 in our straight plays. One of those was an ad, of course. But we went 0-3 in props, and we went 1-4, which means we scored none for the round robin, which was crazy because all we needed was just to get, it would have been the minimal, it would have been the two least valuable legs of the round robin being parlayed together, which was Lusa by decision, which did hit, which we'll get to. And the other was Costa Rockhold does not go the distance. It was a chalky leg, minus 370, but you anchor it in there with a lot of the with some decent plus money, right? Because the round robin, people were asking me questions on it. Different setups for each houses. Some houses will even give you kind of multiple ways to set up the round robin, but essentially you don't need everything to hit. I did 6 different combinations of 2-teamers with my 4 selections, and my risk for that for each one was a 0.17U. I know, 17U. Take a shot. So even if the lowest one would have hit, which is what I would have settled for, it would have been I would have gotten 0.80 back, and 0.17U divvied up 6 times because the round robin takes our 4 selections and divvies up to 6 2-teamers. That total costed, and that was only in one house that I played those the round robins at. I guess thankfully in this case because it didn't hit. Not thankfully when it does, right? Like last week. But yeah, you add those up together, that's just over a unit at 1.02, right? So even just the lowest possible combination of it hitting, we would have gotten 80 back, almost it paid back for. And that would have made for still technically a losing night, but not as much of a losing night. So the houses that the one house that I played the round robin in, that had 1.02 unit extra exposure than the lot of them, right? Than the rest. That ended up at 3.40 units I got back. So if you would have added 80 to that, I still would have been short, but not as short. It would have been just like a quarter unit flyer. Whereas the other houses with the 3.4, I risked outside of that round robin. The risk was, which was just in the one house, the total risk was 3.44 units, so 3.40 back, just about break even, 4 ducats short. I know. And we'll page note that because when I did do an ad, I could have afforded to play it straight up, to be honest, and the read was just as confident. It should have been confident enough to justify a play. I was just trying to be disciplined, maybe hoping the good juju of not putting it all out there up front, maybe having to sweat and not getting a good of a price. Maybe that'll at least guarantee my Orichi Lang to hit, right? And it did if I was going to that woo-woo logic. But I didn't want to parlay the whole 1 unit that I got back from that Orichi Lang, so I only played the 0.75 unit on. I know I'm jumping across the board. I'm still going to work it down in order, but I only played the 0.75 unit, so I didn't give I didn't give it all back, right? Was the way I look at it. It was like, I didn't give it all back, and I turned that 0.75 into another unit. I looked brilliant. It was a strong start to the card, but and I'm not just, maybe I am just saying this because I was so close to coming over the finish line. But if I went whole unit there, I think I would have been over. So that would have been, lesson learned. Just have the balls, play it. you were disciplined enough to not play it and play it late, Dan, just throw the fucking unit on there. You got an extra unit now, right? But I am really stingy how I budget, so that is not how I looked at it. But yeah, who would have thought? I would have thought for sure. I was like, well, no matter what hits, I know I'll have the anchor that'll hit, because how is Luke Rockhold and Costa going the distance? There's no way. And then when I saw the fight play out in round 1, I'm like, there's no way. Then I saw the fight play out in round 2, I'm like, there's no way. And I'm like, why the fuck are we in round 3? There's no way. Oh, I know what's happening here. Not complaining, by the way. It was a crazy fight. It was, there's a reason, again, just like the main event. There's a reason why I picked Usman and didn't bet the main event, right? Right? There's a reason why the only play I had in the co-main event, I was so on the fence about it. The only play I had was doesn't go the distance, because I'm like, that's the safest play, right? In a round robin, a chalky doesn't go the distance. How it doesn't get much safer than that. I mean, I could wear 5 condoms over my head and enter the arena with a face mask, and I still wouldn't be as safe as having a Rockhold Costa doesn't go the distance ticket. No, dude, that was, and thankfully it was just a stupid little round robin I had it, and I bet you there's plenty of people out there that had serious investment. If that was you, my heart goes out to you big. That's a tough beat to swallow. I'm laughing about it, but I'm sure plenty of people are, and I don't blame them. Hearts go out to them. Hearts go out to Luke Rockhold too, man. I really felt it, and I didn't want to say anything. And then I saw my guy Casey Leiden share something, and of course I had to overshare, and I was just like, yeah, man, that hit me too. And he was just like, I'm just fucking old, man. Especially I knew watching the competitions were going to hit different again once I started competing again. It's going to start having that kind of value again where you just there's part of me which just has nothing to do with the bets, folks. Even if I don't bet the fight, you see someone take the head kick knockout like the Usman, right? And you're just like, a lot of thoughts. And yeah, as a guy competing again there, and then there's the extra layer of that. I'm older now, just turned 37, so closer to 40 than 30. And Leon Edward, by the way, robbed the judges, didn't he? That's why I chose this shirt, since my fight side shirt was all trashed by the end of the day here, end of the night. Make it sound like I have fucking mustard stains on it or something. To treat myself to a little Thai food. Sitting right at the low 190s, hitting the 180s at the end of workout. So should be in the 180s next week, hopefully. And get party rocking. Next fight, Aldo versus Marab. I'm going to clean up the chat here before we get to those. Days, more specifically. Aaron, I worked a fight tonight 2 hours from Dallas. After the fights, we were watching at B-Dubs in Wichita Falls. A storm hit with 90 seconds left in the main event. What? TVs went out. No way. This sounds like my Verdum JDS story. Oh, man. Let me see. Okay, so the storm went out. 90 seconds. Aaron says. Then I said, watch. It'd be the most epic comeback in UFC championship history. And as I was pulling the fight up on my phone and telling the table next to us who were a few fighters and girlfriends from the fight earlier about the epic comeback it would be, and I was pulling up the fight on my phone, and I was telling the table next to us who were a few fighters and girlfriends from the fight earlier about the epic comeback it would be. Then I pulled up about 6 tables, came over to watch it on my phone. I'm waiting for the rest of the story. But yeah, that's hilarious. That reminds me of a story watching UFC 90, I think, or 91 in Chicago. And maybe it wasn't Chicago. JDS knocked out Verdum with the uppercut, right? JDS was unknown then. And the cable box, old buddy's black box, remember those? Dayton back in the day, I guess, right? it went out right when the fight started, and then someone, one of my jackass buddies from the crowd goes, "And it's all over." And we're like, "Oh, yeah, right, yeah." And then we turn on the TV, and it's all over. And Vadum's just like, and we're just like, like mid laugh. Oh, you gotta love those. As far as B-dubs goes, my guy Jordan Killian has the best story when it came to Bader and Tito. Telling a bunch of people they were dumb for picking Tito Ortiz. And then Tito Ortiz is a crazy comeback. And then everybody just dunks on my guy Jordan. Calling him everything. Alright, here we go. Let's go here. Hey, Danish Khan, the Earth Special. That's right. Nice Earth shout. And I haven't seen Danish Khan chat in a minute. What's up? Daniel Mays. Edwards couldn't believe you won. Shoot, could you? And beat someone who beat you, and just in that kind of way. The fight's going that way. Jeez, can't imagine. MMA Jesus, love the avatar. Imagine having the balls to put a unit on Leon at plus 300 and then live betting Usman 2 units after round 1. Shaking my fucking head. Oh, man. Props for coming clean on that one. Jeez, that's rough. Shouts to you. Sound of Violence. Luke Rockhold got Diaz matchmaking-wise. That was Sean Shelby special. Old pretty versus new pretty. Yeah, man. I don't even know what their special is these days. You know what their special is for sure, though? They do love them some middleweights, though. Middleweights and light heavyweights opening cards, like, they have to do it. I wonder if they moved the heavyweight where they're like, I wonder if Altitude will have a thing. So that's why they moved that and put Puddle of Pujilova and Wu on there instead. I don't know, but it was just like, I was just thinking of these Altitude cards. Like, where's your love for light heavyweights and middleweights and heavyweights now, UFC matchmakers? It's like they purposely, like, for a while they were doing it on fight nights, but, like, they're like, okay, we're not going to fuck around on pay-per-views. Like, we're going to have 145 or 155 open the main card, like how God intended. Like, I don't even know if I believe in God, but I believe God intended that, folks, because that's right? The sun goes up, the sun goes down. Main cards are open with featherweight and lightweight. That's just how it goes. What the fuck? Sorry. Just they're fucking, the card structuring is beyond me. I know I'm never gonna get a job at UFC now. I'm bitching about the matchmakers. Smart, Dan. Smart. But not that I'm trying to get a job at the UFC. I'm just saying, like, just showing how smart I am, my IQ. But I can't, like, say what you will about Joe Silva, he looked like he was like Master Blaster, like the guy on top of him trying to run the big guys, but no, he knew how to structure a fucking card, man. So we go, Mark Fellows. UFC may not like Luke, but good to see Dana show the fight. Had to. True warrior. Show respect? Show respect. Yep. Yeah, I didn't see it, but I'm glad he did too, man. Yeah, no, I mean, he deserves it, right? I mean, you have to be a big Luke Rockhold fan to feel for the guy. I absolutely felt for him. Sound of Violence. Dana shows Luke love to avoid lawsuits. It's also a smart move. It's smart. It's a smart move. Now that, let's be honest, not that Dana is the guy to be on. Not that he seems like the guy that's beyond being petty, right? But to Sound of Violence's point, that is a smart move. Dana's been, since the Vince lawsuit's, getting real nervous. Oh Jesus! What are you talking about there, TSOV? I can't quite put my finger on it. Black boxes, the open seas of the pre-fight internet days. Yeah, you know what's up. My guy Paul Vernon appreciates my references. Mark Fellows, couple of Octagon girls and female fighters taking notes from WWE, I reckon. Oh, Jesus. Hey, what happened to my girl, Shondella? Whatever happened to Shondella? All right, Danish Khan. I'm always lurking around. Glad you're doing well, my man. I hope you're doing well, I should say, and thank you for wishing me well. Sound of Violence. I think Sam Alvey is at fault for middleweight and light heavyweight pay-per-view openers, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do without him. Hope he got a podium on the way out, just like he did on January 6th. I still think it's him, by the way. Show me proof where that man was January 6th. Otherwise, he took that podium. I'll keep going since this is about the fights we're talking about. MMA Jesus, what do you think of Usman constantly hooking the gloves and grabbing the cage way before Leon did later in the fight? I saw that. And Herb doing absolutely nothing about it, but Leon, he does the latter. I think that was one of those unfortunate things where, again, another reason why I sympathize with Leon, he's like, I'm that guy. I remember I had a old construction foreman when I worked my construction days. He would go, guys, he had a Chicago accent, guys, don't make sure you're not taking extra time on the 15-minute break, because you know what you're going to do? Everyone's going to do it for like a week. You're going to see everybody do it. It's not even a Chicago accent, but whatever. I'm just trying to impersonate the guy's voice best I can. And he's like, but this is what's going to happen. Then you're going to do it, and then I'm going to come around the corner and get you. And it's going to be the first time you've ever done it. And I was just like, this guy speaks like a man with bad luck. I can relate to this. And yeah, what the fuck was I talking about? But yeah, Usman hooking the gloves. Yeah, that was Leon Edwards' luck. And yeah, Usman did it a bunch of times before. Herb missed it. I don't think it was like any kind of bias. Like, I like Usman better than Leon. That's why I did. I think he fucking missed so many. Like, when Herb finally I feel like the closer Herb looks at something, like the least he's paying attention. Because like you'll see him like, oh, he's like someone like, you know, either like this person's taking a lot of damage. They should really stop this by now. Oh, good, Herb's coming in for a closer look. And then you're like, it's like that meme where it's like, you came in for a closer look to stop the fight, right? And then Anakin Skywalker's like, and we're like, right? And then Anakin Dean's like, and it's, you know, that's what it feels like. Because we saw that in the, was it the Marab or Aldo fight or something before? Or, no, I think it was Romanov fight. And I bet, it was somebody that I bet, and I got mad at it. I was talking to my guy, Wes Colvin, True UK fan. Even I was complaining about it. And the guy that I bet was benefiting from it. But, you know, again, like I always say, I try to keep that same energy. And but yeah, the fighter grabbed the cage, and Herb came closer, and I'm like, oh, okay, he missed that cage grab. That was a bad one. So now he's gonna come closer to warn him, to maybe stop him. And then the fighter does like an even more crucial and more egregious and obvious one with Herb in a better position and more focused, as it appears. Nothing. It's just like. He's so like, you know that like classic like person like the goggles, or they paint the top of their eyelids to like Strange Wilderness, like they pretend they're focusing. Like Herb has mastered that posture in like MMA refereeing as far as in the octagon, where like he can look focused and he's not paying attention, and you're like, are you paying attention? He's like, yeah, I'm paying attention. I'm even gonna get closer, and he'll miss it even harder. It's like, is he trolling us? He's got to be trolling us at this point, right? He's got to be trolling us. But yeah, that was bad. You weren't crazy for saying that. Herb punished them. Joe Silva was a dick, but I missed his matchmaking. Sound of Violence. Yeah. Why was Luke so tired so quickly? Are we chalking that up to altitude or just being old? Being older, weight cut. Not just the last time he fought was like, what, 3 years pre-pandemic, right? That was also up at light heavyweight. The cuts are crazy for him. Like, even like the last fight he won, like I remember the weight cut, he was like even like super rude to Heidi Andral. He was like just like, he really, the weight cut was just really rugged, right? And that was the like back in the Dave Branch fight. This guy's been struggling to make middleweight. Now you got it at altitude. He's older, the layoff. I'm sure it was those things. And then you're getting hit too very hard. And even though a lot of them were headshots, Costa is good about mixing of the body. So, you know, a bit of column A, column B, column C, column D, and column E, if I can give you the politician's answer there. But yeah, no, he did totally. That accent is gas. Holy shit. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's a good call. And Herb doesn't have a dog and a burning house vibe and the closer looks for a stoppage. He does. It's weird. He does that, and then he does the Mission Impossible hover, the Tom Cruise. And we make fun of him for that, but it's like, I think there was one where it was like, okay, it was very forgivable and really acrobatic of him. All right, gonna push on with this recap here. That was Rockhold and Costa. Dvalishvili, Aldo. I don't think that was the fight with the egregious fence grab or anything, but this was really bad. I think I can give the cat out of the bag. I'm gonna go on Couchside Judges. Shouts to my guys Dan Urban and Scott Fontana to discuss further as far as scoring and stuff. But basically, like, Marab, and this is real apropos because someone tweeted this, which I agree with as well. Someone tweeted that Luke was, shouts to my guy Eric, that Luke was going for a lot of the same setups that Eric was breaking down in the podcast, even when he was gassed. So shouts to my guy Eric. And but Luke looked to hurt him. Someone tweeted Luke looked to hurt him a bunch of times, and but cost his poker face, you know. And it's true. Body language is everything. Not that I think there was a round to give Rockhold, but I will say that it was closer than it optically looked. Again, not enough to give it to him in my eyes or the judges' eyes, who were all unanimous. But it was closer because, you have someone no-selling, like the point I was just building to a second. And then, oppositely, you've got a fighter who's gassing, right? I always bring up that Jacare Kelvin Gastelum. Again, and not even that I disagree with that decision either. I don't remember disagreeing with it, nor do I now. But that was just optically a lot closer than it looked, you know. See, I don't know if it reflects that way in the stats. Of course, stats don't tell the story. I'm not a big stat guy, but stats, I dare say, may support this. But, that fight was a lot closer than it looked. But optically, Seuss is gassed, so he's not getting that much credit for his hard shots, and the other guy's getting a lot of credit for shots that maybe aren't even landing clean, right? So you've got a lot of those optics. And in this fight, round 2 was the swing. Wasn't really a swing round, but it was the round that the judges, I'm guessing, were not sure about. Maybe they all gave me unanimously because it was just 30-27. It was the round 1, which I felt was pretty clearly, not clearly, but, you know, a strong enough case for Aldo. I don't feel crazy calling that first round for Aldo. The second round was closer. It's tough because it's like, is it closer because I bet on him? And am I ultimately giving it to Marab 29-28, which I do? I'll probably rewatch it for the show, but for the Couchside Judges show. But like live, I do. But is that because I'm countering my bias? Because I know my bias, right? And that's the majority score. I will say notes that I did take. Was writing some notes during that fight as well. And Marab, Aldo at the end. Marab lands some good punches in the beginning round, so do Aldo, and then it's a bunch of knees. I don't know if they're Storley knees. Shout out to my guy Dan Albert. I haven't even seen that Storley fight yet, by the way. But you got to give credit to those knees, accumulative, right? They're not heaviest, but you got to give. I'm Mr. Accumulative, right? Give credit to accumulative. I got to keep that same energy here. Hence my Marab 29-28. But I will say it was close in round 2 because Aldo, again, they each have some shots. Marab lands maybe one or two pretty decent shots in the beginning of the round, whereas Aldo, I think, maybe 3 to 4. But again, you've got not that control, aggression as far as scoring goes, but the control and aggression allow Marab to pin Aldo to the fence and get accumulative damage with the knees. That's what's scoring, because there's no real grappling or takedowns or impactful anything really outside of those knees. So that's what's scoring, and you got to keep that same energy. But they break away, and I will say Aldo lands a really clean leg kick, and he lands one of many in this fight, knees, when Marab was coming in. But both commentary and I imagine the judges are probably crediting the punches, which aren't landing clean or being overswung, and I would argue the knee to the body is hurting more because that's intercepting, and Marab's running right into that. Whereas when you're throwing that knee, you know it's exposed, you know what the counters are, and you might still get hit, but you're seeing it, whereas you're really running into those body shots. But Marab, like, he could have had a broken rib there was the thing, and, like, you wouldn't have known because he's just such an animal. He's the machine, right? And so, unfortunately, you know, it's hard, you know, to really grade that. So even though I want to make a case for that, at the same time, as much as I get mad at people running wild with subjectivity, I can't go ahead and do that myself, right? Because at a certain point, even though I know, and I'm confident what quality strikes are more than the average Joe, I feel like that's a fair statement to say. Guy who's dedicated his life to martial arts, covers it for a living, competes in it. Not crazy to say. That being said, even though looks like a duck, smells like a duck, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, if it's not showing anything from the visual side of it, which has its kind of tricks and pitfalls there, right? To, you know, there's no bruising, there's no cuts, there's no, you know, the guy's not slowing down, he's not stopping because he's Marab. So, like, there's no, you know, he's not having to really change his stance from it or anything like that, from the leg kicks, because he just takes it because he's Marab. So you're like, how much can you really grade Aldo? How much can you really give him the benefit of the doubt? And, you know, if it's a 3 to 5 range for what he's landing, how much can we really land to the 5 confidently, or much less push the envelope to a 5.5 or 6 in my little horse race carnival game as far as scoring the rounds go, right? You know, I got to keep my subjectivity in check too. I got to keep that same energy, folks. We all got to do our best. We're all hypocrites by nature. Doesn't mean we can't call ourselves out and do our best on it. So I did go Marab in that second round. Obviously, I went Marab in the third. I'll have to rewatch it to see if I vehemently disagree with that 30-27, but that's how I had it scored, and I bet on Aldo. Major disservice by Day, Andre Pederneiras, man, which sucks. I like Day. Day don't leave the house for nothing, is what they say, right? Like, Day don't leave the house for nothing. And a guy so revered and stuff, but you really got to keep up with this, man, you know? And you know, I was talking with my guy Eric on the podcast, and, you know, just like I won't say my sources, I'm not going to say his, but I was really happy to hear that, and it doesn't surprise me. Eric's a really sharp guy. You know, he has almost weekly talks with high-level judges who are on a ton of cards that you hear all the time. Different one than I talk to, but he's doing his due diligence as well, which is good, and I think more corners and camps really should, because, you know, even in the fight they won with Vieta home, right, and another fight that I bet on, and I was on the wrong side, right, they won that fight, and he was like, he, you know, almost disowned her and, like, you know, put her up for adoption if that was her kid between rounds 4 and 5 in that fight. And she ended up winning on the scorecards. He completely thought she was down, right? So I bet you what happened is Day was so wrong on that fight, and he was like, oh, the judges, they don't like the stalling anymore. It's okay if we want to take our breaks against the fence and hang out a bit. That's almost like what he was telling Aldo, where he goes, it's okay. They're only going to give it if they're stalling. That's all they're going to give it to you. Almost like a security blanket. Like, you can take a break if you need to. The only way you lost that round is if, which was the rough translation, right, from the broadcast, is if the judges like stalling. So it's like, you know, people are taking the wrong messages from these fights. They're taking maybe these just micro examples that don't pace, because nothing is really we try to find parallels a lot in my analysis, I do, but this is MMA. Nothing is exact, right? You have to understand the macro to start even playing with the micro. You got to understand the macro first, so you got to understand the criteria, the sport, what the judging trends are. I mean, these things are really important to stay up on. And I feel like the longer you've been in the game, it's almost like the more susceptible you are to those things, right? So that's something that camp's going to have to watch out for. Lucy, Puddle of Love, Pujalova versus Wu Yanan, TKO. Shout out to my guy Luca Fury, who was saying these guys, they were 0-7 in their last UFC appearances headed between them for the pay-per-view portion of this card, folks. I mean, Jesus. I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but I remember the last pay-per-view. Like, I posted a gif of the kid, like, slowly crying when he's being interviewed, where he's like, and he just kind of gives away. And I think it was UFC 221, a Rockhold pay-per-view, when he fought Romero in Australia. I can't remember what that main card was, but I remember that was, like, I can almost guarantee that was the last one that had as many complaints. And that was, like, pre-pandemic and all that stuff. I remember because I got my abdominal wall reconstructed, my umbilical hernia surgery. Not fun. So I was watching all fucking sewed up. I want to say drugged up, but the drugs don't work. They only make things hurt. Don't you know that song anymore, Dan? It's been a while. Sorry. Yeah, Tyson Pedro, dude. Right. Defeated Harry Hunsucker really fast. Body kick punches. No submission. Hunsucker turtle, but it was turtled because he got crumpled by the body shot. So that was, follow up with punches. Acting accordingly. Took my flyer. What are you going to do? Everything was too juiced to take, so... that's that for the main card. Before I push on to the prelims, going to go down here to the chat. Thank you guys. Please like if you haven't already. Subscribe, Daniel Tom MMA, if you're listening on audio. Thanks for the 5-star ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. They really help. Let's see here. Let's see. Just come out and say what we all think. And Herb is trash. That comes from MMA Jesus. Herb's a really nice guy in person, man. It's a really tough job to do. I think Herb would, I know he does teaching stuff and stuff to parlay, no positive. He definitely is not the best. That's a really old dated talking point. Again, people going off of old information, right? With Pedinaris in the corner, Rogan saying Herb Dean is the best. Definitely does not have my vote for best. Mark Goddard's, Jason Herzog's. There's plenty of people that deserve some shine in that conversation. That list can go on. I will say I do. I don't know if it's like Herb's he's got to not turn in his badge, because I think he's just super useful. Like, I feel like he'd be great, like, educating as you're trying to get more new blood, right? Sprinkled in accordingly, built up properly, but new blood is something I always say we can all agree on. I feel like Herb would be great at cultivating that. Parlay that experience there, It's like when you're done competing, you teach, right? See. That's my idea. I don't know. Just trying to throw a positive idea out there. But Sound of Violence says, to be honest, I was impressed with Luke went the full 3. Yeah, me too. He said, Sound of Violence says, I never would have bet on it going past 2.5, to be honest. Yeah, same here. It was insane. Stellar 703, I expected Aldo to defend the takedowns, which he did. I just didn't expect that's all he would do. Yeah, clearly took the third round off. Can't complain when you take that third round off, man. I mean, this was important, Someone said he was just showing up for a check. I don't blame you for thinking that, but he had an actual run here. Like, this was his last run he could have made, so this was super important to show up to. Tough matchup, but a tough but winnable matchup also, right? Because he got the 3 rounds, especially if he took it seriously. He could get through that. I don't know, man. But I put a lot of blame, honestly, in that corner, just objectively. How can you not? I mean, I know the third round on paper was going to be Aldo's least likely round to win anyways. Didn't mean you can't try, right? Anyways. Still got love for Aldo, and props to Marab and his team, by the way. Sound of Violence. I'm hyped to watch Marab vs. Aldo because I missed it, but goddamn do I wish Marab was around in the late WEC days. Yeah, I think so. He would probably want to fight less technical, which would make him even probably more of a wild man in that status. So yeah, probably be much more fun. This wasn't very fun, obviously, but this is kind of like his style and how he has to fight the higher level guys. Because he's still, he's getting big wins against like ranked dudes, but he's still looking for that breakout performance, before to kind of match that vaunted pace. The Sound of Violence, or even early WC. Oh man, Marab versus Olaf at a catchweight. Oh, that would be insane. That would be insane. Marab versus Olaf at a catchweight for the Carnival belt. I'm also old. I know. You guys got love for like freaking Olaf Alonso's of the world, so I appreciate you dudes. Sound of Violence. If you're a fan and looking to learn more about judging, look into Bed Cartilage. His episodes with Sean Sheehan on Severe are awesome. Yes, very excellent. Very excellent. Very respected judge. I respect him a lot. And I'm making more of an effort to talk to these guys, you could say. And I really like Ben Cartilage. I'll leave it at that. Really, really good dude. And Sean Sheehan, he does the most in the media for judging. So he's got plenty of informative interviews, videos. I know the judges can't speak on the record a lot, so a lot of us who speak to him, can't give the details. But I try to share that I or other people are, just to show that people more on the other side of the fence and whatnot are trying to educate themselves more too. We're trying to be better here. But yeah, okay. Prelims. Marcin Tibura defeated Alexander Romanov. Sorry, Michael Chiavello there. The Romanov by TKO bet was looking good in round one. Tibura looked done, and then out of nowhere he just like bounces back in elevation. Like, where does he have all this energy from? Like, what the heck? I'm like, I thought the Moldovan magma was running strong. Shout outs to the MMA analysis when we just saw other heavyweight hit for me, right? Spivak, I thought I was gonna saw that the Moldovan magma was flowing, but I guess Tibura got some. But no. In all seriousness, I actually went from I already resigned that my bet wasn't gonna cash after round one, but I found myself actually because the guys danced up and other people I knew. I had some Tibura tickets, so I was actually just rooting for Tibura in round three. And I was actually kind of disappointed. I'm like, wait, so he has all this energy out of nowhere to get Khabib at heavyweight and then just come back all of a sudden out of nowhere. But then he doesn't have enough energy to take advantage of a gassing dude, which, in his defense, Romanov was throwing random spinny stuff, which was really weird. Why were the big guys like Rockhold and Romanov throwing all this crazy shit when they were gassed and they're big grapplers? Maybe use the last year energy to do the stuff that finishes fights that you normally do. That was kind of weird, but Tibura still did end up cashing. I would have gone 10-8. I have to watch it again. We'll probably have to talk about this round. I would have gone 10-8. You don't need all 3 Ds. Damage is the most important D. That's the general gist of it. I know it's stateside judges. There's these weird regulation things where if you speak to the judges that are across the pond who do a great job and I think are more consistent actually, they're like, we don't listen to the unofficial nonsense stuff that Dana White says for us to do about the 10-8s. We just do it as the criteria says. So, which I appreciate and I agree with, by the way. So it's funny. So for damage, I feel like it's a 10-8 for me. The spectrum of just getting across the line to clear 10-8, it's obviously closer to just getting across the line. I don't know if it's by a hair, by a photo finish, just barely got across the line for me. But yeah, it just got across the line for me. However, if we do the common sense test and we take back to the spectrum, right? We take a wide range of the spectrum that already is a wide range, which is a 10-9 round, right? And all the different scenarios that can account for a 10-9 round is really wide. Let's go ahead and take that really wide sample. Let's go take a big fucking chunk of it. And Sorry, how was I gonna word that? Sorry. Yeah. Let's take a big chunk of that, right? And now let's put let's put all those different round scenarios that we just took a big chunk of, set it right next to the Tybura Romanov round one, and tell me, do those two rounds look the fucking same? No. And again, I'm not a stats guy. Shouts to Richard Mann, the real statisticians of the world. All respect to them. No disrespect. I'm just not a stats guy. They don't tell the story of the fight necessarily, right? Most generally. But that being said, I mean, what was it, 0 to whatever? I mean, a bagel. Shouts to John Anik. A bagel in the significant distress department. So, from the common sense test, it's a fucking clear as day 10-8. From, I want to get technical about it and yeah, it barely gets over for me, but it gets over. But that being said, I'm actually kind of glad because I just saw how many Tybura tickets. Shout out to my guy Liam Picks Fights. Dude, who did he have? I think he had Lusa, Tybura, and Leon Edwards in a parlay ticket for like $14. Turned it into over $500,000. Shouts to he's been on a guest on this here recap show. Shouts to my guy Liam Picks Fights. Awesome dude. Go give him a follow. I got to imagine he had a killer night. He's always killing it, and as he should, as he deserves. And I know he's got to be feeling good about hitting that ticket, so I want to give him a shout. And that's why I was kind of, part of me is kind of glad that, because my bet's already long gone anyways. Doesn't mean I can't root for other people, right? So part of me was glad almost that they didn't give the 10-8, because then it would have been another draw, and then the Tybura tickets wouldn't have cashed. Nobody would have won anything. So at least some people won, so that's good. Jared Gordon defeated Leonardo Santos. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't overexpose. I'm glad I didn't play inside the distance. Gordon came through if you wanted to parlay him, so I guess I didn't lead you wrong if you went off that cliff. I didn't like parlays, here. Maybe woulda, shoulda, coulda. Of course, it's all hindsight now. So I'm gonna keep that same energy I said. I wasn't feeling it right. Little exposure, only the .117U on round 3. You could see it kind of formulating. All the pieces were in place, but Gordon was pressing his advantages and was fighting smart. So I don't blame him for not selling out. Of course, the gambler in me was like, come on, just push hard. Maybe you can get him, grapple him a bit. Don't have to take the back. Go side ride. Just punch. But was not meant to be. All good. Happy. Always happy when Gordon wins. And I like Leo Santos too, so nothing against him. Sean Woodson, who looks like the Spider It thing that I was saying to Aaron, and then I found the picture. But that happened in one of the movies, so I had to post that photo. Now you cannot unsee it. Defeated Luis Saldana. No, it was a draw. I thought Saldana could have got the nod, should have got the nod. Not even talking about because what he should have done. And should have not done in round 1, which was obvious. He just really wanted to walk off. Like, he tried to do it twice, and it was almost like he's frustrated he didn't get it and looked like dumb, so he knees the guy when he's on the ground. Obviously, you're in the heat of the moment. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, obviously, but it just was like, come on, man, what are you doing? And I picked Woodson and no plays, so I didn't have a dog in the fight there, but I just was like, what are you doing, man? So he's really going to be kicking himself. You can tell his corner was frustrated. And that's a draw. Real curious what they line Woodson next, because he gets a lot of love from the odds makers. I'm going to see. Curious who the matchmakers match him up with, and curious how the odds makers project him, Ang Lusa, amongst the good start, defeated AJ Fletcher via unanimous decision. AJ Fletcher's super tough and caught Lusa, which Lusa doesn't get hurt often, so, AJ Fletcher's got some power. But he composed himself, slipped at some crucial times when he was getting flurried on. Glad the ref didn't stop it, and just showed that he was the better fighter. I mean, it was kind of what I suspected and what I said in the pre-show with Aaron after this was the last fight I researched. It was post. So I told you guys I was targeting it, and I just, when I went back to watch the tape, Lusa was just better, man, just as far as technical. And like, shout out to my guy Brazchuk. I forget what it was. I think it was Amir Albazi and Francisco Figueiredo, where he was just saying one guy finished Malcolm Gordon and the other guy went life or death for 3 rounds. Sometimes MMA math works. And that's how I kind of felt with Lusa and AJ Fletcher. I love Semmelsberger, but Semmelsberger is clearly a guy who swangs and bangs, not really a grappler type, and his level as far as MMA and experience and all that really got shown and audited against Alex Morono. And AJ Fletcher got out grappled and out MMA'd by him. And Luce has been fighting for like a decade, man. He's been fighting around really good people. Not just with Usman and stuff stateside since 2018 or whatever, like they said on the broadcast. But like even before that, I believe he trained at All Stars over in Sweden and fought amateur. He was just ready for this. Wrong guy favored. And I'm mad at myself, even though I picked it right, played it, put my money where my mouth is. I should have put more. I'm not even talking about I should have put more. I should put it just the unit, full unit. That probably would have been roughly 40 to 50 ducats more, and would have cleared us in 2 of the 3 houses, and we would have been within a unit. But hey, that's the good thing. I remind myself, like some of these losing nights. I think the last losing night I had a few nights ago, because I think we were coming off of 3 winners before this. The last one was only like a minus 1.55. So these small losing nights aren't really too bad. What was it? 1.061 in one house and 0.014. So not too bad. Amir Albazi, of course, defeated Francisco Figueiredo. Curious to see more of him, Albazi, but that's a good solid win to get back to after a bunch of injuries. Speaking of hindsight, we can finish on a high note here. Orichi Long, the Mongolian murderer. This was another one where I did put my money where my mouth is. Over a unit, biggest bet. As far as what I risked, only a unit return. But I've been one for chalk, so it just seems extra non-sexy to me right now. But I did say, with all this giant chalk, and you're worried about who's going to shit the bed and who do you have to parlay with somebody who could also potentially shit the bed. Well, there was some chalk that was reasonably priced, and they got even better priced because faded the public. It didn't work with Aldo and Dvalishvili, but you can't be afraid to do it, man, because this was aged really well in hindsight. Again, Perrin, really tough guy. Gave us a scare at the end there. We'll definitely give him that. I don't know if the guy was as rocked as Rogan was saying, but yeah, that was definitely a scare. Definitely stole the round. For sure, give that round to Perrin. Tough kid. But Orichi Long, man, it was better striker, counter, those knees that I called for, body shots, counters, and decent wrestling to boot. Judges got it right, and we cashed that one. So that was nice. And then Victor Altamirano defeated Daniel Lacerda, Daniel da Silva, TKO, punches and elbows. Boy, that turned fast. I don't know if it was because Da Silva, Lacerda kind of gasses already, and then this fight he took on short notice on top of it. But yeah, started off good and then tied to turn. Shout out to my guy Aaron Bronstetter, had a really good read. I don't know how he finished, but he had a really good read in the first half of the card. It was almost like it was like the card listened to him on the preview show and was playing out as he was saying it. So I want to shout my guy there. All right, let's see what the chat before we move on. Nyadavia. Get out of here for the night. And David Banner. Hey, new to the channel, but shout out to you reviewing the event. Thank you for joining us, David. I appreciate that, my man. Thank you guys all for joining us, actually. And hit the like button if you haven't already. Looks like we just went over an hour, so that's good on time. I'm going to be getting out of here unless you guys have any more questions. But yeah, hit the like. Daniel Tom MMA if you want to subscribe. Positive ratings and reviews on Apple. Always appreciative. MixedMartialAnalyst.com, my website that supports this here show. You can find banners for the Amazon on it click-throughs, PayPal secure donation links. Doing those Amazon reads, all of the Film Vault has been really fun, by the way, at least. So I definitely got to give you guys some ups there. All right, let's see what we got. We got a week off, and I'm doing the recap now. I'm probably just going to take the week off, to be honest, because I got a lot going on, I know my guy Kyle Mack's just getting better from getting COVID, and then I think he's actually going to be on Heavy Hands. So shout out to that podcast. But I got to get him on for a top 5, and I'm trying not to do anything too extracurricular. Until then, I know I'll be going back on my guy Die Hard MMA show, my guy Clint show. I'll be going on my guy Kyle Marley show, doing some fantasy. I've been bad about the fantasy people, man. I've been really bad. So I'm actually going to bring a fantasy guest that I will reveal at a later date. But I also want to give my guy Kyle Marley a shout. I'm going to go on his program. He invited me on there. But yeah, I really got to get that top 5, and I'm really trying to limit my guest appearances and all that stuff. Until I do that for the top 5 90s MMA fights with my guy Kyle Mack. Support his show, Combat Chronicles, another Patreon worth supporting. He does a really cool thing, Writer Robbery, where he'll kind of review fights. I love it. A lot of people I love that have done stuff like that don't really do stuff like that anymore. So I want to give Kyle Mack Combat Chronicles a shout. If not, just subscribe to his free show. It's good enough. He actually will follow stuff like kickboxing, JMMA, stuff that I wish I had more time to do. Mark Fellows, enjoying the post show, DT, good stuff. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate all you guys for commenting, liking, sticking around, hanging out, like the video if you haven't. Even if you're watching on a replay, the likes and all the engagement, the watch hours definitely really help. So I'm going to go ahead and mosey on out of here, folks. About to hit the old dusty trail. I'm going to just get in a lot of training, try to get my computer probably virus free. Hopefully we'll see. If anybody knows good stuff for MacBooks to get the virus and the search marquees and the game player checks off my computer to reset my fan clock and hopefully maybe hang some heavy bags, or I don't have any ordered, but I gotta get I have the thing to hang it. I gotta get that installed. If that goes well, be on my way to having a garage gym. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep training hard, keep the weight coming down, and just doing that. I'll keep you guys updated on that front if you care. Otherwise, hopefully you did okay. You made it out okay. Much love, and always protect your neck.